Good afternoon, Mtlaga 9 November 2025. Thank you so much to everybody who has just joined us. Bengizocela ukuthi please just make sure that you mute yourself when you are coming through. So that sizokwazi ukuthi sizwane kahle. You'll forgive me, I'm in the restaurant place here, but I would like for you to please mute yourself when you are coming through. It's gonna help us a great deal. And then okunye ke ngiyezwa ukuthi khona abakhuluma ngePirates and khona abaphatha kabuhlungu vele njengoba kukhulunywa ngePirates ukuthi winile. So anyway, sicela bakithi ukuthi ningakhulumi ngamaqembu lapha ezebhola ngoba akube mnandi kwabanye abadliweyo. So thank you so much for joining in. Our session is special today. We are dealing with an open mic session as we normally do, any and everything that we need to deal with. Dogozo, sorry, I missed your call. I will call you back. I see you just joined, and we're just talking about business, and we had to bring it forward at 4 o'clock instead of 5 because of some extraordinary commitments. Siyabonga ukuthi nisijoyine. And sifisa ukukhuluma nje openly, mhlambe you may just be here wanting to sell your business as to what you do, and we would be more than happy ukuthi sikuzwe. You can just WhatsApp me or hoy me a message. Usho ukuthi you would like to talk about this. We'll just give you 2 minutes or so to pitch, do an elevator pitch. No, they normally say about 3 minutes to do this, and you are able to present your case to the entrepreneurs. So we're very excited. We are still meeting on this platform to share opportunities amaningi esuke ekhona, as well as to assist one another. There's a thing that we believe are crucial in assisting you to move forward with your business. And today I thought maybe before we even allow anybody who would like to ask questions about what one person would have said or comment about what a business yako is doing, for those that would be interested in it, let's just talk about the fund readiness, to be fund ready. I always find it very interesting. I was talking to Tippy this morning, I'm sure he has joined. It coincided with the fact that we're going to talk about the subject today. And I was advising, as I normally do with many entrepreneurs, with Tippy, to say, it's very important that when you are having an idea, you should know, first of all, how to package your idea. And secondly, you should know really what to do to get business idea online, because most of the time, abantu banama ideas, they're universal. When you think you have the idea alone as your unique idea, you must understand that someone or 2 people or 10 people have got the same idea somewhere. But the difference between the idea being manifested and just remaining an idea at the head level space is action, is the ability to take that one step to say, I wanna move forward. I wanna get my idea out there. I wanna start. That's the most important thing. I put on my WhatsApp status somewhere where I said, get in a game. Getting in a game means you have to act. You can't be on the sidelines and just stand. You know, and that's where it becomes interesting for me, where you find a lot of people are just standing on the sidelines and critiquing those who are acting and playing. Because being a player in the field, like if Bola Njoat is Kulumangalo, Mobona Majita Lapana, no Cherry Bejuluga, it's because they are working. And it becomes easy for wena omi ngaphandle ukuthi hey, ilula leya nto le, I can do it nami, until you get onto the field. And what we're encouraging you to do here on this platform is to get in a game. But getting in a game is not as easy. It requires you to be knowledgeable as to how do you get in a game, just like in the game of football. Again, I'll make that example. You don't just say, well, in a skill, I can be part of the game and end up being in a professional soccer league. But what you need to do is to go join a club. Actually, even before that, you go through trials, right? And after trials, there's a selection process and a selection criteria where you then move try after you've been tried again. Bakunikeza that game, first game. And that game, you have got to make sure that you really, really prove yourself. So again, apologies for the noise behind. Like I said, I'm in a restaurant. You can hear people are already ululating for some bowl. I don't know what is playing today. But what is important, Uche, you must be part of the game. And then you start proving yourself to say, what type of the player are you? Are you the top player who really deserves to earn a certain bracket of his salary? Because as you once again know, not all players earn the same amount of money in the football field. In South Africa, there are players who are earning R1 million a month. Others, I think the highest player, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't checked recently, but I saw one player earning very good 1 plus million rand, maybe 1.5, I can't remember exactly, in South Africa a month. So that just tells you, Uchi, that player is not the same as the other player who earns 300,000 rands a month, because that's how much these players get. They get serious money. So now with business as well. You are going to get in and be part of the game, but you are not going to be the same, because somehow the market has got a share, an equitable size of a number of economy, so to speak, where you just have to understand with me. Ngifuna ukuthi ngibe uRonaldo, ngifuna ube uLionel Messi, ngifuna ukuthi ngibe, uKhune, I don't know whether usadlala yini uKhune, or any of the top players in the football field. And then, or you are still starting, you are earning the entry level of 100,000 rand. So that is just an analogy for me, at least. That makes sense to say, muzongena kwi-game of business, ufanele understand at a very elementary level ukuthi ungena kuphi and ungene kanjani and finally wenze kanjani. And some people, like I was saying, I was talking to one of the members here, umuntu uyafuna ukuthi, hey, I want to get into a business where I'm going to apply for 100 million rand. But manje, the challenge ekhona ukuthi this 100 million rand that you are applying for, a capacity to handle that 100 million rand, you may not have, because at some point, people who are assessing your business plan on the other side, they may just look at you and say, have you been able to manage 1 million rand worth of the business? You see, then if you have not been able to manage 1 million rand of a business, as an example, the question is, how can they trust you with managing 100 million rand? So those are small things. As entrepreneurs, we must just wisen each other around and about, so that when you say, I want to be in the business and I want to start the business, don't punch above your weight, but try and make sure that you convince me, because I'm sitting on the other side of the table, I'm assessing your business case, and I've got to look not just at the paper, but I've got to look at you as a jockey of this particular horse. Are you really ready? Can you be able to? Have you even ran 100,000 emalangeni dollar rand business before you want to say you want to run $100 million rand emalangeni business? So that becomes very important for you to understand that that's how you are assessed. You are judged out there by people that you present your case to, because you are making a proposition, you are proposing. If I don't know where right? I think abantu besifazana abakhona la abashelwayo nabashelwa, they will agree with me ukuthi uyayibuka le ndoda ukuthi hlobo luni likapende lolu luthi liyangithanda. Lo muntu lo uma umbhekile uzokwazi yini ngempela ukumela ubudoda bakhe as a man. As an example, that may just be a very lousy idea, but truth is you are assessed whether you are in business or whether you're in a relationship or whether you adjust yourself or whether you want to run for the public office and you want to be a president or you want to be minister or you want to be anything. Because here there are people who've been politicians, who are politicians, and I'm sure they'll agree with me. You are assessed in your party by a nation, and all skeletons come out to say, what has he done, etc., etc. Sometimes they will even unravel, isn't it right, about your life. And that's the credit listing issues as well as the ITC stuff, where they say, have you been able to take care of imali zakho ngendlela, right or not? Or I'm a debit orders, wakaya bouncer, etc., etc. And then are you able to take care of the small thing for the big things that you are asking for? As I'm about to hand over to my colleagues today, I was sharing with somebody again today and saying, you know, one of my business partners, and then there seems to be a rain of opportunities coming for her, and she's doing. I'm not going to mention her name, of course. She's doing very well. She's getting contracts in hundreds and millions and all of that. So, and then I'm saying to her, you know, just like what the Bible says, he who has much, much shall be given to them. But whoever has little, even the little that they have, will be taken away from them. That's a law of attraction, I think, playing out right there. You know, to say you attract from the outside by what is inside of you, the more abundant you have, the more you shall get. But the lesser you have, and the lesser you are, actually, even the less that you have may be taken or shall be taken away, if I were to translate it loosely as such. But that is just maybe a topic for those who are sort of like religiously inclined, who can unpack that far better for us. But for me, as a novice, I'm just looking at it from the point of view of a law of attraction, a law of nature, and the fact that once you start doing something, and success is consistency as well. Once you start doing something consistently well, and you are really there, staying there, stay put and pushing for your business, having started small, don't be afraid to start small, no matter what is it that you are doing. That's why Kubantu be-turmeric here, I said to them, we don't want you to say we are a turmeric farmer when you can't even farm and buy seeds for 1,000 Rand or 100 Rand. And then, because if you are saying I'm a farmer, let that farming experience show, even if you are farming a 3 by 5 meter, show it that I am experienced here. I've done this thing. I've been able to plant maize. Don't wait for 1,000 hectares or 100 hectares. Do something as more, because in so doing, you are actually empowering yourself. You are helping yourself to become better. And therefore, you can be trusted when you start saying, I want to apply for 1 million Rand or dollar. I want to apply for 100 million, because you've been able to show the track record of yourself having started somewhere instead of wanting to start right there. I do know in South Africa, people have been spoiled so much, especially on matters of tenders, because the tenders have got a tendency to pour in millions into people's account instantly, and they become instant millionaires. And yet they don't learn, therefore, the art and the strategy and have the patience ukala a business, which you just start by selling lemon, this one, you start selling water, you start selling sweets, you start selling and grow like that. So I thought let's just have a discussion and maybe you ask questions. I've got two of my colleagues that I've worked with for many years. with business. They were working for my company before. They are now private consultants. I love these guys amongst many people that used to be part of our team, and they are still part of the whole ecosystem. They've helped many of you put up business plans, raise money, and do all sorts of things. Together with my team in the past 15 years, we've raised literally over 1.5 billion rands for many enterprises across the country. And these are the people that have worked with me who understand how to get your business ready for funding and what are the pitfalls, what are the things that you need to look out for, and all sorts of things. They may not present something right here, but they may just speak from their heart based on the notes and the experience that they've shared, but they have. But if they've got something, they will tell me so that I can give them the rights to be able to flag whatever they want to share with all of us. It's Peter Chiwawa, who's an economist and has got masters in economics and other stuff. He can tell you more about that. Very great, diligent person that I've known for many, many years, and has been working all across the continent recently, doing deals and assisting with feasibility, business plan formulations, marketing strategy, raising of funds, and doing water-related projects in different parts of the continent. If he finds it okay, he can share that with you. Mbegezeli Ngwenya, a very serial entrepreneur, young man as well, who I've known and worked with, and has done tremendously well in pushing various businesses, but he's still very much in the space of consulting. And again, he is an accountant with a Bachelor of Commerce, I think degree as well, doing with a number of other qualifications, just to name but a few, and who I believe they can share this platform and share with you, Guti, how do you get your projects ready? How do you really get funding ready? Who am I starting with? Let me start with Mbegezeli, and then Mbegezeli can then share the platform with Peter. Like I said, I would like to have you recorded live with your handsome faces so that you can be able to do this thing properly. Over to you, Mr. Ngwenya.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mbegezeli. Yes, we see you.
Okay, thank you so much. Sanibonani ama-members amandla omnotho. Some of you, they normally call me the business plan guy. And I'm very happy to be called a business plan guy because I'm in the space of developing business plans for the SMEs. Okay, Mr. Klaba has already introduced myself. I've known Mr.
Klaba. Sorry, Mbegezeli, I think we can only see you from your nose. If you can just go, there you go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I have known Mr. Klaba for some years. In fact, he was my mentor and he's still my mentor. Okay, he has just given an introduction. I'm in the space of business consulting. I offer business support services to startup entrepreneurs, already existing entrepreneurs, as well as entrepreneurs who want to expand their businesses. So I have done quite a lot of business plans for the clients, which I'm very proud about. But I'm not happy with some of the clients I have done the business plans for, because the main purpose of doing the business plan is to raise the funding, but they fail to raise the funding because of some of the reasons which I'm going to highlight today. Okay, number one, we have got clients or some entrepreneurs by just a name of being an entrepreneur, but they don't have a passion. This journey of being an entrepreneur, it has to be a calling. I've met a lot of clients who come to me to ask for business plans to start up businesses, but only to find out ukuthi lo muntu he wants to start a business because of he's stranded. She has got nothing to do. Ucabanga ukuthi to do a business, it is a solution for financial challenges that is facing. So that is a problem number one with most of entrepreneurs. They don't have a passion for entrepreneurship. They want to make entrepreneurship as a source of income or as an alternative way of employment. As a result, i-mindset yalo client is not right into entrepreneurship, but ufuna ukuyenza as a source of income. Okay, right. Number one, I'm going to give you the list of some of our reasons why most of our clients, they are failing to raise funding. I've done our business plans across all sectors and subsectors of the economy. My success rate, over 60% of my business plans, they've been funded by different funding institutions in South Africa, the DFIs. Okay, number one, when you are starting a project or a business, the first thing it determines about your business, is it comprehensive, is it a bankable business? The first point that the funders they consider is number one, it's viability. Your business idea, is it viable? That is number one. Number two, it is the business model. Most of our clients, like I said, they start entrepreneurship, being in a passion, without even starting the sector that they are venturing into. As a result, they don't even have a business model for their business that they want to start on. Number three, it is the profitability. Most of our clients, they jump into any sector that they want to start, but they don't understand our profitability or our industry standards. So when they're doing e-business, they don't understand where to pitch and how to pitch their profitability, your profit margins and your markup margins. As a result, that business model, the sales revenue, sales model, it doesn't make sense. Then the last part, it is the sustainability. Is your project, your business, is it sustainable? Most of our developmental financial institutions, their mandate is to support, is to fund our projects that are sustainable with an employment plan. So that is first part where most of our clients, they get it wrong. Their projects is not viable, it is not profitable, it is not sustainable. That's number one. Number two, it is the issue of the market. When you are starting an entrepreneurship, you want to compete in the market, a space that is already occupied. So most of the clients, they fail to determine and to target a specific market. So most of our DFIs, what they consider is the market confirmation. You are starting a farming project. Do you have a market? Is it confirmed? Is it guaranteed? And there's only two things that can confirm a market, is an LOI, which is a letter of intent, as well as the contracts. So ngikhuthaza ama-entrepreneurs ukuthi mani izoqala i-business or this journey of entrepreneurship, before you think of accessing the fund, make sure that you have confirmed your market by either an LOI or a contract. Then number three, it is the place of operation. This one ingizwisa ubuhlungu kakhulu ngoba for 2025, I think I've had more than 18 clients that were rejected because of a place of operation. DFIs, when they consider your business plan for funding, they consider a lot about the place of operation. Where are you going to operate? You want to start a farming project. Do you have a PTO if you're operating in communal land? If it is on a farm, do you have a lease agreement? So those are the two things that you must have before you make a submission. First, identify a place of operation. Get it secured by either a lease agreement that is signed or a PTO from the local authority. So that's one thing that is very important. Then on the farmers, I know most of Amandla Omnotho members, they've got so much interest with farming. Please take note of this. If you want to do farming, our DFIs, they are so strict about water and soil analysis. When you make your submission, make sure that the farm or the land that you have identified for your project, you have done the water and soil analysis to identify if the land is suitable for that intended crop or animals that you want to keep. So most of our clients, they always skip this one to do water and soil analysis. Right. Then let's go to the existing entrepreneurs. I always have my clients, they come to me, they make my arguments. We have been in operation for the past 10 years, 15 years. Our project is viable, profitable, and sustainable. But can you prove that your project is profitable? Because for a project to be funded, it has to be profitable. And most of our clients, you don't keep your financial records. So ngiyakhuthaza ukuthi manje uzoyenza i-application for a funding, make sure that your project, it has got the management accounts, the latest management accounts in place. We have got your past set of financial statements for 3 years. They are in place. That's where most of our clients, they get it wrong, especially the existing SMEs. I'm not talking about the startup. Obviously, for a startup, you won't have any financial record to justify the financial position and the financial performance of the business. But for an existing business, make sure that the management accounts and the annual financial statements for the past 3 years, they are in place and they're in order. Still on that point, on the annual financial statements, like Mr. Xaba has said earlier on, most of our clients, we have got ambitions to grow big, but let this process be gradual and in a piecemeal process. You can't ask for a 1 million rand value of funding when in your lifetime you have never managed 100,000 in your account. It's impossible. So I always have my clients who come to me, they want to start a project, they want 100 million. I always tell my clients to say, you are dreaming now. I always like to use that way to say, you are dreaming now, wake up. So what I'm trying to say is, for whatever the value of funding that you are asking for, make sure that your revenue doesn't exceed 60% of the capital that you are asking for. Please take note of this. The amount that you are asking for, make sure that your revenue range, it is between 40 and maximum of 60%. That's one thing that most of the clients, they get it wrong. They want to ask for 100 million, while their turnover, their revenue, it's far less, even 100,000. Which means you won't be in a position to service that debt. Right? Then let's move to the last one, the next one, which is the experience. I always have the challenge with our clients. They come, they want to start the business. Then we are with, okay, you want to start turmeric farming. You want to start goat farming. Then they will say, it's very easy, I can do that. Yes, it may sound like it's easy on a paper, but on the ground, there are a lot of expertise that is needed technically. And you find that most of the clients, they don't have the experience. They don't have even the relevant qualification. So, ngiyakhuthaza ukuthi mawuzoqala i-project, make sure that you align your skills, your qualification to the business that you want to start. But that does not mean that if you don't have the qualification, you cannot start any project. We have got successful businessmen. We have started our projects, businesses, but they didn't have that expertise or the qualification. Then what do? Number one is partnership. Make sure that you partner with someone with relevant skills. Number two, you get a mentor. Most of our SMEs, you have got that challenge. I always encourage my clients who comes to me to say, always get a mentor. If an upcoming farmer in your area, identify an already established commercial farmer who is going to be your mentor. In entrepreneurship journey, you need someone who is going to hold you by hand so that you follow in his footsteps, so that we can get things right and in a good way. So that's one thing where most of our clients, they fail to raise funding, because when a funder is looking at your application, remember you are sending an application to someone who is sitting in the office there. You are not there. So your package for application for funding, it must be in a position to answer all the questions that might arise as they are going through your application. So you want to start a project but don't have any experience, you don't have the qualifications. How are you going to run that project? How are you going to run that business? That is one thing that most of our clients, they get it wrong. Then the next one, it is the administration compliance. This one, I think over 60% of my clients, that's where they always fail. I'll prepare your submission pack. I give it to you to make the submission, but only to find out that your returns, they are not up to date with SARS and CIPC. Then they get you disqualified. Please make sure that when you start the process of applying for funding, make sure that your admin compliance, it is up to date. And I must emphasize this. Entrepreneurs, you don't want to be hands-on with your business. You let all your accountants to handle it. Right? So make sure that you check with your accountant to say, are my books up to date? Are my returns, my filings, are they up to date? Having access to your profile to check if everything is updated. That's one challenge I always have with the clients. They'll fight at the last minute to say, my accountant did everything. Then when I'm checking with the accountant, nothing is done. So that's one of the reasons that makes your applications to be disqualified. Make sure that your compliance is up to date. Then the other one, it is the credit score. Most of our clients, your credit score, it is below the minimum. When they are going to fund you, they check your credit score. Especially ladies, they've got a lot of these accounts that they don't even pay. Then they get disqualified because they are blacklisted or their credit score, it is below the minimum. Then the next one, it is the issue of directorship. Nonkosi, can I share this with you? I'm failing to share on my site. I think you didn't allow me to share something on the screen here. Can I share you via WhatsApp? Then you can share it on the group.
No, it's fine. Let me allow you to share. Just a second.
Okay.
I'm going to allow you to share. Yeah, you can share now.
Okay, right. Okay, right. Then the next part, it is the issue of directorship. On this one, I've had so many challenges with the clients. You find that you want to start a business, but you are registered with over 100 companies where you are a director. In most of those companies, some they've been deregistered, some they are non-compliant. Please make sure that where you are a director, all those companies under CIPC, they are compliant. So most of the clients, that's where they get it wrong, to say they find so many companies that they're registered under, but they are not compliant. Then the last thing is the issue of the business plan template. Mr. Klaba, is it visible on the screen?
Yeah, it is visible. Thank you.
Okay, right. Let me explain on this one. I always have my clients who come to say, I have done my business plan. Colleagues, let me explain this one. A business plan is a technical document. It needs a level of cohesion when you're writing your business plan. It's not everybody who can write a business plan. You can have a business idea, but get a person with some skills, some expertise on how to lay out a business plan, because it's an official document that we are going to send to someone and raise a funding, not just a funding, a lot of money, right? So this is a template of the business plan that we use. So your business plan, make sure that it has got an executive summary with all those items, then the background, then the market and industry analysis, which is one thing that I've explained earlier on to say, under the market and industry, we have to have a clear target market, you have your clear sales strategy, as well as the pricing. Then we have got number 4, your management team. Make sure that if you're starting a project, your management team, it has to be in line with the industry that you want to participate in. Then we have got the management strategy. This is one part that is key, that makes most of the business plans to be disregarded, is because of the management strategy. The business that you want to start, have a relevant management strategy that can reduce the risk of collapse of your business. That's why I find most of the business they start up now, after 5 or 10 years down the line, most, if not all, they collapse. It is because the management strategy, it is not well aligned. Then we have got the marketing and the sales. Then we have got the if it is a project for a farming, make sure that your production guide is in line with your production plan. Same goes with for manufacturing. Then we have got the risk analysis, then the financial administration, which is the last part that I want to speak about. Most of the clients, they don't have the proper financial administration. And when you're making a submission to a funder, especially if you're an already existing business, they'll ask you, how are you managing your finances? We have got a project that is generating enough revenue, but over 50% or part of your sales, they go through your personal account, which is the most challenge with entrepreneurs. They can't separate their business account and the personal account. So under financial administration, that's where most they get disqualified. Then the last part, which is the checklist and the milestone. This was under the annexure and the supporting document. When you are making a submission, make sure that all the requested supporting documents, they are in place. Don't miss and skip any of the requirements. I think I've covered a lot of information, Nonkosi. I can hand over back to you for any questions and answer session.
Okay, before that, thank you so much, Mbegezele. That was a mouthful. I'm going to ask Peter. I know some of the things that you have mentioned. He may not need to repeat them, but I want him to have a bit of a say so that then we can take questions and engage the audience. Over to you, Mr. Chihuahua.
Thank you so much, Nonkosi, for the opportunity that you have afforded me to present to the platform of Amandla Umnotho. Yeah, I'm Peter Chihuahua.
Sorry, Peter, I'm going to ask you as well to push. We can, yeah, that's it. Now we are clear. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. My name is Peter Chihuahua. I'm an economist by profession. I've been working with Nonkosi for over 15 years in the space of economic development. But now I'm focusing in the continent, focusing on other issues pertains to natural resource governance. But that's basically a brief background of myself. So what I would do, I'm not going to repeat much of the information my colleague Mbegezele has mentioned pertains to the challenges that are being faced by SMEs in accessing funding in South Africa. So what I've picked from the presentation from my colleague, he was just focusing much on the demand side of the equation. But now my presentation, it will focus much on the supply side, which is the environment itself. Do we have an enabling environment in South Africa which support, your SMEs, which ensures that SMEs, they have got access to funding? Because I will just touch briefly on the demand side issue just for 1 minute. one of the key challenges that SMEs face, like my colleague has alluded to, the issue of, a lack of proper financial records. Because you find that even your existing businesses, when they are now at a stage of applying for funding, most of the time they do not have up-to-date financial records in terms of, your core financial statements, which are balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow, as well as, your 12 months management accounts. Most of the existing business, they fall short on that requirement. And then funders often reject their business because the business plan won't be, providing evidence or proof of financial viability. And you also find out for startups, most businesses now, their financial projections or the revenue projections, they are not based on contracts, like what Mbegezele has alluded to, the issues of the letters of intent. But you find out now the environment, the SME environment in South Africa, at the moment, it's not that conducive. But for example, I can give an example. There is one client that I was dealing with. He applied for IDC, and then IDC went to the extent of even he presented the letters of intent, but IDC goes to the extent of even requiring further information pertains to the financial statements of the companies that have pledged that they are going to procure or to buy products from this business. So from that you can actually see that the traditional metrics that are being used by these financial institutions or development financial institutions to assess our SMEs, they are not conducive, or they are not they do not consider the major challenges or the key aspects which SMEs they are facing in South Africa. So I would like to challenge Nonkosi from just to use your convening power or the lobbying power that we have to ensure that from a policy perspective, we are supposed to make a lot of noise to ensure that the environment is conducive for the SMEs to be able to access funding. So I've got some of the points that I just need to mention in terms of which pertains to, these ones are directed to the funders, to the funders themselves. There's need now to make a lot of noise or to lobby for these financial institutions so that they can come up with your innovative risk assessment. I've mentioned that they need to revamp the traditional metrics which are being used to assess a number of SMEs in South Africa. For example, Mbegezele mentioned the issues of credit score, balance sheet, security, collateral. So you find out that these traditional metrics, they are not, they do not consider, the key challenges, or they do not look at the major dynamics that are being faced by SMEs. When it comes to the issues of collateral, it's an issue, especially for startups. You find out for startups, sometimes it's very difficult for startups to present, your collateral. Then when it comes to issue of, financial viability in terms of, justifying market feasibility, it's very difficult to get your letters of intent or even contracts. It's not something that is easy. I've given an example of one of the funders which went further to require the financial statements from the companies that are pledging to procure the products from the applicant. So those are some of the issues. And then the issue of red tape. We all know that in South Africa, red tape is an issue. you know, the funding application process is very laborious, and there are a lot of, you know, documents that are being required for one to be able to access funding. So the issue of so all these administrative, you know, hurdles, it's an area that needs to be tackled from a policy perspective. So, and also the other point now, when it comes to like what I've indicated, that, you know, most of the SMEs, it's very difficult for them to be able to present your letters of intents or contracts. So from a policy point of view, the issue of credit guarantees, I think, you know, goes through the platform. We can also make a lot of noise to ensure that we do have those programs which offers, you know, your credit guarantees to most of these SMEs. And then the other issue now, there's need for the development of, you know, SMEs focused products, because you find out that most of the financial products, they are meant, or they were meant for your big businesses. They are not tailor-made to the specific challenges which are being faced by a majority of SMEs in South Africa. So there's need to ensure that, you know, from a policy point of view, these DFIs and all these financial institutions in South Africa, they need to develop, you know, your SMEs focused products. And also, there's also need there's also need for SMEs to explore alternative funding sources, because we know that the traditional funding sources in South Africa is very difficult to access some of the funding, regardless that the government has got a number of, you know, programs which support SMEs, but we know that there are various issues around those programs, like the issue of the red tape that I had mentioned. So there's need now to explore alternative funding sources. For example, you know, your crowdfunding, invoice financing, and then asset-based finance. Those are some of the you know, alternative funding sources which can be explored. So I think basically that's my presentation, because I just felt that since my colleague focused much on the demand side of the issue, let me just touch on the supply side of the issue, which now ties to the to ensure that the environment is enabling for our SMEs to be able to access funding. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Peter. That was a very well balanced discussion, ensuring that we cover all the angles, especially after Mbegezeni had already covered what I would say you already have touched on, or rather what you haven't touched, what he hasn't touched, and you covered it very well. And if I looked at a little too, but to each and every one of you may have more questions, more comments. But what I'm taking from discussion here, it's about the state of being ready, and maybe the challenge that Peter in particular is posing, which we are taking, and we're going to be looking at that particular challenge via Amandla Mnote and the Royal Chamber of Commerce, because we need to keep lobbying government. In Malico and South Africa, particularly here, it's in abundance, but we don't seem to be getting it. Mr. Ngema, if you can kindly unmute and then speak, please. Madla ungavula mfowethu ukhulume sesilalele wena. Nomunye futhi onombuzo phakamise isandla, just so that we can get to hear what you have. Clearly?
Okay. Yes, sorry, but ngizama ukunmute la unmute.
Sure.
Ngiyanibingelela nonke bafethu, ngiyathemba niyaphila.
Yes.
Ngixolise nje sengingene late, but ngiyayithola i-presentation kamfowethu la. Mfowethu igama lami ngicelo kandiyaza ebhangeni. Kunelokuzana mfowethu engifisa ukuthi ngingenelele kuyona la. Kwi-presentation kabhuti, and uthinta amaphuzu asemqoka that affects ama SMMEs. La, especially in our district, la kunale ma programs are to government to DDM, District Development Model. So we are trying to find out opportunities are cornered through the DDM program in our district. But akusiniki kahle ukuthi singa accessa kanjani those opportunities, because nje one problem yokuqala kunama SMMEs akwi poultry industry, and lama SMMEs akwi poultry industry ahlale esihleli kwi informal awavudluli from there because of what ama facilities angalekelela la bantu to open up the market to access a formal market nanokuthi ba produce ama products abo ngendlela. We are trying to cover that gap to introduce the processing facility in our district. But the challenge in esibhekana nayo kakhulu, it's financial assistance. And ama cost ama ezinto abazidingayo like abo environmental impact assessment and okunye kwakusiyazikhokhela or lokuzana no feasibility study. We are trying ourselves to see invested to that program, to that project. Kodwa sinenkinga ukuthi we need the buy-in government as well, because this project is more on iqala from the what level up to a district. But siyafisa ukuthi mhlambe ke kube na that buy-in even abomasipala bakwazi uku-assist abantu, because one of the challenge oyithola kuma district uthola ukuthi kunama the LEDs akhona kubo bonke omasipala, then siyazama ukuthi sixoxisane nabo as well. Uthola ukuthi asithole kahle indlela yokuthi ama SMMEs how they can access those opportunities akhona kwi district.
Sure.
So leli phuza lithintile ubhuti is very 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 important yokuthi ama SMMEs now kodwa engingabuye ngibeke kuma SMMEs siyadinga ukuthi sisebenze as a unit, as amandla omnotho esivukuza all over the corner of this country. Siyadinga ukuthi sisebenze ngokubambisana, sisebenze as a unit ukuze sikwazi ukumelana nemarket. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Mandla Govo. Ngiyazi what the question is mainly towards government, and there are some government officials here, but today's session was more to help entrepreneurs to get themselves in the state of readiness. But your question is very much noted, especially as you are talking about the DDM, which I believe is a very good framework in government. We'll definitely be engaging the government on that one. Mkhaya, Mobile.
Bengifakile Mkhaya lapha kwi-chat box, but it's fine. I think I'll just go ahead and raise I don't know if I should say a question or a comment or just a concern. The issue of funding, yeah, I think maybe because that's the topic for today. There is the issue market access, market access, but rather let's say le ama letters of intent, if I can put it like that, ama off-takers for ama products ethu. I wonder if ikhona indlela mhlambe singasizakala ngayo or sithole session as to ukuthi yini esingayenza as small businesses to be able to approach ama businesses like abo spa, even abo box. Mhlawumbe sengikhuluma nje laba abaseduze nathi ukuthi bakwazi ukusi-assista ngezinto ezifana nalezo, or any other companies that are purchasing from ama farmers or any of our other products. Ngibala nje farming off the top of my head because that's one of the businesses we are involved in. So angazi if singayithola isession efana naleyo. Nokuthi-ke outside of it being for funding, I mean, if you are running a business, there's no point doing any operations in your business without access to e-market. So angazi nakhona ukuthi yiphi indlela, because I know especially with corporate companies or private companies mostly, we don't have access to them. If you are to have access, bazokutshela ngama subscriptions to some ngizothi ama procurement entities that they are dealing with. So angazi ukuthi singasizakala kanjani for us to be able to access those opportunities are in the private space Because I mean, the government is doing it in the public sector. I mean, you go to any public entity, they've got a tenders portal. But when it comes to the private sector, I aglungi. So angazi whether I'm looking in the wrong place or ngempela there's something that can be done so that sizokwazi ukungena kwi-private sector. Because for one, the other things in the private sector, they are very reliable when it comes to doing business with them. They don't have le nkinga yama-shenanigans that we normally experience when it comes to government entities. Ngiyabonga.
Okay, thank you so much, Mkaya. I'm sure my colleagues will just weigh in there in their closing remarks. I'll take one more last comment in my corner. Peter and Begezeli, you will note that was Ngobile. She had put something there already. She's articulated it. Basically, Mr. Khatebe, very interesting. Mr. Ngwenya, does one need water and soil analysis for animal farming, such as cattle, rabbits, and sheep in applying for funding? And then Yvonne is saying, thank you, sir. This is very informative. Sfiso from Eswatini, powerful information. By the way, some of the things are the same in Eswat. So whatever questions you may have, you'd find it just similar. Klubi, Olisa, I'm a small business and discovered that there is no existing tribunal to deal with small business problems. The ombudsman is still being established. Not enough funds to take the case up with the court. The client knows that, reading to Small Business Development Minister and requested the portfolio committee on small business and development to help, but in vain. What can I do? Kaya, it's a very important one. I mean, Ashlubi, that question, I know you're still busy with that ombudsman organization that will be sort of like working and playing in that space. I think it's things that we may not have answers for you, unfortunately, but I do talk to the Minister of Small Business, so Stella Ndabeni. Maybe we can take the discussion outside of this. But you remember, we still need to work together within the ecosystem and help each other to push these things, because there's a lot of activism that this needs as well. Is any? Let me take one because we are closing now. And Sugude, you can unmute.
Sanibona, ngiyabonga Baba Xaba. So I'm speaking with regards to EMA points abegwe the first speaker that we had. Ubale izinto ey'ncane with regards to the place of operation, value of funding for startups, and the credit score. So I just wanted ukuthi I expand on those points. So basically, my company is a consulting company. Mostly my clients are small businesses. We do compliance from your SIPC to FSCA to other authorities that govern ama businesses. But now seeing that it's a small company, the place of operation is obviously whatever boardroom that we can utilize at that moment with regards to whatever projects that we are dealing with or whatever our client actually requires at that moment, which then says that we don't have a steady address esizokwazi ukuthi sibheke kuyona sibhale when asking for funding ukuthi nayi place of operation. So I just wanted to ask him the criteria within that, seeing that we are a very small company, we're mainly just a startup. How can we then point or state operation yethu without limiting ama chances of us actually getting funding? Ukuthi singathi yiphi indawo ke le esi-operator kuyona if ngempela singenayo an office or a steady address that we're actually using. Another point ebebalile was the value of funding for startups. Ukuthi akumele ukuthi uthi nje usaqala musubhala ephepheni for your funding or your application uvele usho an amount that is exorbitant, which is understandable. But what is then that amount ebhekwayo for, let's say, a company that has at least 10 minus people within the company that are working within that organization. And then my third point, why sebala ama credit score, ukuthi kuzobhekwa wena as a director ukuthi i-credit score yakho injani. So they will evaluate your credit score or your credit history. What would be the minimum requirements there?
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Sugude. Very pertinent questions. Ngicela ukudedela my guests to answer. Any one of you colleagues can answer, Peter or Mbegezeli, but I want each of you, after answering, to have your parting shot, and sincerely appreciate you as well for coming on board. Let me start with you, maybe Peter, and then go to Mbegezeli.
Okay, thank you so much. I will just touch on the issue of letters of intent, which was mentioned by one of the participants. How do we ensure that we access markets, especially because she indicated that it's easy to access market in the private sector, but it's difficult in the public sector. So I think other avenues that can be explored, especially accessing markets in the public sector. One of the major one is obviously you need to register on the central supplier database and then ensure that the business is tax compliant, so that you'll be able to access your public markets. And then I just also want to touch on the accessing your corporate value chains, because it's one of the key important market, your corporate value chain, because you find out that one of the major shortfall that SMEs has when it accessing your corporate value chains normally is the lack of track record, capacity, and compliance. So once the issue of the track record is being fixed, and also the specific products that the SME will be supplying, it needs to the SMEs need to exactly indicate what exactly is supplying to the market, and also the issue of the capacity and the compliance. Because most of the SMEs, for example, you say, for example, you want to access I can just give you an example. You want to access your Woolworths market. Sometimes most of these small SMEs, they do not have the capacity, or they do not meet the minimum threshold that will be required from these markets to ensure that there is consistent supply of the products. So instead of just pinpointing on the problems that are available in accessing these markets, but from our side as the SMEs, we just also need to fix some of the issues, the issue of track record, and all the issue of the capacity. Do we have the capacity to ensure that we'll be able to consistently supply these markets? Yeah, that's my contribution for now.
Thank you so much. Sorry for that. It's my next meeting. Thank you so much, Peter. Let me go to Mbegezeli and have your parting shot.
Okay, thank you so much, Nonkosi. I will try to be very brief since our time is almost lapsing. Okay, Mr. Nonkosi, I think as Amandla Omnotho, it's a lobbying group, right? It's a movement that is lobbying on behalf of SMEs. Especially, I want to touch on the issue of contracts and LOIs, which is a major blow to most of entrepreneurs. I think going forward, as Amandla Omnotho, you have got so many members in this platform, but some they are working in isolation, right? I think if we can join hands, join forces, pull resources together, then we work as a unit that can break a lot of these barriers. I think among the Omnotho, we must have a target to say every year we have got a target to make, let's say, 5 to 10 flagship projects, sustainable businesses. Then those businesses, they do intra-trade amongst themselves. That can assist to even tackle the issue of LOIs. We have got so many members in Amandla Umnotho doing different businesses. I can give you a good example. Let's say those who are doing livestock. We say Amandla Umnotho, we want to do or to capture goat farming as a value chain. It's a value chain with so many business units. You can have farmers who are doing or specializing on plantation and growing of feeds. Then we have got primary producers. Then we have got breeders. Then we have got the retail part of it. Then amongst those the value chain, they can give each other LOIs because they'll be doing intra-trade. So what I'm trying to put across to Nonkosi, try to group members of Amandla Umnotho into areas of speciality. Then they can do intra-trade. That will also allow them to group together and approach these retailers. Retailers, they don't take emerging farmers or business just because of a lack of consistency, like what Peter has said. But if you group together farmers who are doing tomatoes, producing 1 gallon, 5 gallons each, you group them together, you have got 1 ton. You approach this bar, you say, we have got cooperatives Amandla Umnotho who are producing 1 ton per month. They can consider doing that. But each challenge, you are scattered, you are producing in small quantities, it is not even feasible to do that. Then there's other one obuze ngendaba yama water and soil analysis. I'll give you a quick incident that happened in Limpopo last year. There was a funder who was funded by the Department of Agriculture for 1.2 M. The challenge that happened, they didn't conduct a water and soil analysis test, only to find out a river that is passing through the farm, it is contaminated, and all the 8 cows that were supplied, only 3 survived, the rest they died. So water and soil analysis, farmers, it's a must. Make sure that before you submit, you have done your water and soil analysis. That one is a must. I think I've answered some of the questions. If you have got other questions, you can always respond via in writing, since our time is limited on this platform. Thank you.
Mbegazeli, thank you. That was a mouthful. Truly, truly appreciate. I would like to maybe, as before I say my last comments, how do people get hold of you, Mbegazeli and Peter, in case they want to use your services? This is your time to advertise your business as well. I know some know. Kodwa ke mhlambe banithola kanjani?
Okay, Mbegazeli Ngwenya, my contact number it's 08444 31228. I repeat, 08444 31228.
Okay, Peter, thank you so much, Mbegazeli.
Okay, thank you, Peter Chihuahua. My telephone number is 078 957 0241. 078 957 0241. Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, I truly appreciate the two of you. We've always worked together and truly appreciate your dedication. Clearly, I see the comment that we must urge the DFIs and all other comments, including yours again, Kaya and Ngobile. All what I would say is this is an ongoing discussion which we are going to continue with going forward. But all I'm going to ask is that we're going to invite quite a lot of DFIs pretty soon, as we always do, and we're going to invite some private funders as well who are going to be part and parcel of this platform. And you must remember that is why we have launched a twin organization of Amandla Umnotho, the Rural Chamber of Commerce and Industry. and ask people to volunteer but to work at districts, so that at district levels they can be in a position to effect the real meaningful change, just like Ungema was talking about the DDMs, follow the same trajectory and the framework of government, but be entrepreneurial within the same system. I think it's very important to understand the law, and we continue to ask you to participate in the Rural Chamber and become paid up members in the Rural Chamber. And if you feel you don't have money, you can always be a member. Just go register, because we are keeping that database, and we are going to be doing something great very soon, and we'll be coming with my team to do a presentation of the Rural Chamber renewed organization, and it's what's going to happen going forward. Again, preparing for next year's Amandla Mnoto conference, which is going to happen in March. We want you to be prepared, but most importantly, we want to make sure that you are very, very much alert to opportunities and what challenges need to be tackled head on, both within the DFI's private sector and all other institutions that are supposed to be helping us as entrepreneurs. I want to thank you sincerely and ask that please continue to subscribe to our Rural Chamber, as I've already mentioned, and let's work as entrepreneurs to turn the tide in this country. Truly appreciate. Good evening.